Hello, my name is Dianistika. My register number is 16 12 02 and 48. Now I want to review about language testing, what language teachers need to know. Oleh Siti Azizah. Well, let me start. Teaching process, including language teaching, is not only limited on teaching learning activity between teacher and student in classroom, but it also needs an evaluation to measure students' achievement. From the result of evaluation, it can be seen whether the teaching learning activity is successful or not. Since education is not always successful, any effort must be directed to reach the attainment of educational objectives that have been determined. All of those concerned with the process of education needed in order to know the result periodically of the teaching and learning that have been done so far. Now, I want to explain about language testing according to Sudijono. One of learning outcomes of the evaluation devices is testing. Testing is commonly used to measure the outcomes of instructional program. It is an important part of every teaching and learning process. The interrelationship between teaching and testing is a fact that cannot be ignored. Both teaching and testing are so closely interrelated that it is virtually impossible to work in a field without being constantly concerned with the other. And then, now it comes to the purposes of language tests. According to Finocchiaro and Bonomo, there are 5 reasons why test is administered in the teaching learning activity. For the first, to grade students so that the teacher can move them forward to the next higher class or retain them at their present level. The second, through appropriate instruments, teaching can set realistic standards of achievement for groups or individuals. And the third, tests can also help someone assess the effect of experiment. For example, through a carefully controlled experiment, one way is to do whether the student's native language in the classroom increases their program or not. And the fourth is the confidence of the community or nation in a language program may sometimes be based on the results of a testing program. The fifth, the 3 principal reasons for testing as far as classroom teachers concerned are A. To diagnose the specific feature of language in which individual students or group are having difficulties. B. To help teachers measure their ability as teachers. C. To find out how much students have learned or achieved. Next, I want to explain types of language tests. There are various types of tests. The first is progress test. Progress test is assess the progress which students have in mastering the material taught in classroom. And the second is achievement test. It is designed to measure mastery of particular syllabus. This test is similar to class progress tests. They are generally based on a syllabus and measure what has been taught and learned. The third is proficiency test. A proficiency test is a test which measures a student's achievement in relation to a specific task which he will later be required to perform. And the fourth is aptitude test. The fourth is aptitude test. It measures the student's probably performs in learning a foreign language, showing whether the student has any special aptitude for learning a new language or not. Then the fifth is diagnostic test. A diagnostic test is primarily designed to assess the student's knowledge and skills in particular areas before a course or study is begun. Okay, and I want to explain according to Harris, there are only 3 general types of language tests. For the first is aptitude, second is proficiency, and the third is achievement test. Aptitude test in here it means that to indicate an individual's facility for acquiring specific skills and learning. And the second proficiency test indicates what an individual is capable of doing now. And the third is achievement test indicates the extent to which an individual has mastered the specific skills of information acquired in a formal learning situation. Okay, and the next an achievement task that is commonly used by language teachers for making decision of instructional objective is as follows. For the first, placement task, formative and diagnostic task, and the third is summative task. Students' achievement can be measured by either a teacher-made test or a standardized test. The teacher-made test is generally prepared, administered, and scored by one classroom teacher, while the standardized test is prepared by more than one person as professional testing services to assist institutions in the selection, placement, and evaluation of students. Next, I want to explain about the characteristic of good tests. All good tests possess three qualities: validity, reliability, and practicality. Validity is the extent to which it measures what it is supposed to measure and nothing else. Every test, whether it is informal classroom test or a public examination, should be as valid as the constructor can make it. The test must aim to provide a true measure of the particular skill which is intended to measure. The second characteristic of a good test is reliability. Reliability refers to the consistency of the test score. A test should be reliable because an unreliable test doesn't measure anything. In addition, reliability also means the consistency with a test measures that same things all the time. Teachers need to know about the reliability so that they can use test score to make appropriate decisions about their students. The third characteristic of a good test is practicality. Employability for practicality includes a variety of practical, common sense consideration for making it easy to apply the test and interpret the result. Furthermore, there are some factors about the administration and the test itself that must be carefully considered. The first is the availability of enough time for the administration of the test should be fair because the reliability of a test is directly, and the second is the test should be as economical as possible in cost. The third is any equipment needed during the administration of the test. For example, language laboratory, tape recorder must be prepared in advance. The fourth is the length of time needed to get the marking done on the test result. The fifth is the scoring procedure must be appropriate. This is very crucial because it will contribute to the case of interpretation of the raw score that can be easily converted into meaningful scores. Now I will explain the testing the language skills. The four major skills in language are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. According to Hinton, the way of assessing performance in the four major skills may take the forms of tests of first listening, the second speaking ability, and the third reading comprehension, and the fourth is writing ability. Now I want to explain testing the language skills. The four major skills in language are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. According to Hinton, the ways of assessing performance in the four major skills may take the form of tests of For the first, listening, auditory comprehension or listening comprehension, in which short utterance, dialogue, talks, and lectures are given to the task. The second is speaking ability, usually in the form of an interview, a picture description, role play, and a problem-solving task involving pair work or group work. The third is reading comprehension, in which questions are set to test the student's ability to understand the gist of a text and to extract key information and specific points in the text. The fourth is writing ability, usually in the form of letters, reports, memos, messages, instructions, and accounts of past events. Next, I will explain testing language area. In an attempt to isolate the language areas learned, a considerable number of tests include sections on first, tests of grammar and usage, the second test of vocabulary, and the third is test of phonology. Okay, I think that's all my review about language testing. If I have a mistake, please forgive me. Thank you.